Hi friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I would love if you would hit that subscribe button and join my YouTube family. This week I have 3 inspirational meals for you again, and quickly I just want to make a couple notes. So I made one of them is going to be like a Southwest wrap, kind of like an air fried burrito, and I don't want air fryer to be a problem for you. So like if you don't have an air fryer, don't worry, you can still pan fry these, make them in the oven, and they will be just as delicious. Loved how super quick and amazing they were. And then the other one is going to be a corned beef brisket I made in the Instant Pot. Normally I make this in the crock pot. I will never go back to crock pot now, making in the Instant Pot. Like, it was fall apart amazing. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you if you want to like learn how to make that in the Instant Pot, and maybe you've been worried about, you know, putting a big piece of meat in there like that. So let's just get started. This first meal is creamy balsamic chicken and mushrooms. So I'm sort of halving this recipe because I don't need so much, and so I'm only taking about a pound of chicken versus the 2 pounds that the recipe called for, and I'm not really using measurements for seasoning it. I'm just seasoning that with some salt, pepper, and some garlic powder. And now I'm heating 2 tablespoons of olive oil in my large skillet over medium-high heat, and I'm going to go ahead and place my chicken breasts into that oil, and I'm going to go ahead and season the other sides of those chicken breasts with the same seasonings from before, so just salt, pepper, and some garlic powder. And I'm going to cook these for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. This will depend on how thick your chicken is. And once they're done, you're going to go ahead and just transfer those to a plate so they can rest, because you're going to use the same pan to cook your mushrooms and make your sauce. And to my pan, I'm just adding in 2 tablespoons of butter. I still want my sauce to be I want extra sauce, so I'm still kind of following the recipe for this part. I just halved the chicken amount. The rest of the ingredients, I'm pretty much staying close to the original amount, maybe a little less because I don't want as much sauce. I'm seasoning those 8 ounces of mushrooms with some salt and gonna go ahead and let those soften, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add in like 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour and go ahead and stir that to coat your mushrooms and cook for a minute. Then I'm adding in half a cup of chicken broth, and I'm adding 1 cup of whole milk. It called for either whole milk or half and half, and I'm gonna go ahead and let that like stir it all together, make sure there's no lumps, and I'll let that cook for a moment. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add in the 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. The reason I waited on the balsamic is because I didn't want my milk to curdle from the acidity of the vinegar. And I would also say at this point, if you're not a huge fan of balsamic, or maybe you like it a lot, just add 1 tablespoon and then taste your sauce. Or put the 2 and taste your sauce, and if you want to add more, you can always add more to change your flavor. Also, taste your sauce and just see if you need other seasonings, more salt, some pepper. This would have been amazing with some fresh garlic. I just didn't add that, and I served this with some mac and cheese and air fried asparagus. This was the mac and cheese that I really love, so that's what I had it with. I really liked this mushroom balsamic sauce. I do think it needed some more salt and pepper, and I do believe that fresh garlic would have been really great in this. But overall, we really did like this. I loved it pairing it with that like Parmesan, more salty type mac and cheese, and then those roasted flavored asparagus. This next meal is Southwest chicken wraps. For this, you're going to need 2 cups of shredded chicken. I am just using some rotisserie chicken. I like to freeze that in batches so I could use for quick, easy meals like this. And then you're going to add in 1 can of drained and rinsed black beans, a can of drained corn, and 1 8-ounce package of cheese. I'm using Monterey Jack cheese. You can use whatever cheese you prefer. And then you're going to need 1 taco seasoning packet. I just have the big container here, so I'm using 4 tablespoons of that. I had to move my mixture into a bigger bowl because I just knew that once I started stirring this together, I was going to have ingredients all over the place. But yeah, just go ahead and give that all a good stir. You want to make sure that you see your taco seasoning pretty much getting evenly distributed amongst your other ingredients. Then I'm just taking these mission flour tortillas. You can use whatever type of tortillas that you prefer, whether it be carb balance, and whatever type of wraps, anything like that would work. And you're just going to go ahead and place some of the filling of that in the middle and fold your sides in, and then just kind of tuck it and roll it like a small little burrito. And you're just going to repeat that process. So tonight I'm eating by myself because my boyfriend had to end up working his other job, and I wanted something that was still going to be like a nice meal and something I could record for you guys, but not too much of it, or easy to put the mixture away and make fresh burritos when he gets home or whatnot. So I'm just making a few of these just for tonight for my own self. I wasn't sure what was going to be filling enough, so I figured maybe 2, possibly 3. So I just went with that. And because I'm just making a few, I'm not going to use my big air fryer, like oven style air fryer. I'm just going to use my Instant Pot Duo Crisp. So in the Instant Pot, I'm just placing some foil. I placed the burritos down seam side down in the bottom. I sprayed the tops with some oil, and we're going to go ahead and just air fry those for 5 minutes. This is pretty cool. This is like one of my first few times using my Duo Crisp. And you just put the lid on, and then yeah, just setting that to 5 minutes. And then I flipped them over once that 5 minutes was up, and spraying this side with some oil as well. And I put them back on for 5 minutes again. This could be anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes on the other side. This is what they look like. I cut that one open so you could see what it looks like on the inside. These actually turned out amazing. Like, for such a quick, easy meal, this is why I love having rotisserie chicken like on hand, like frozen. It was amazing. It was really great with that like chunky salsa and sour cream. Definitely recommend it like that. I didn't really serve this with any other side, like any Spanish rice or anything, because like I said, it was just me, and I didn't really feel like cooking a whole bunch. But still, this was very amazing. This last meal is going to be some amazing Instant Pot corned beef. To start off, you're going to need about a medium to large onion cut into some bigger chunks. I actually didn't have a whole onion, surprisingly, so I just used kind of some pieces I had in the refrigerator already, and then I'm adding in about 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, and I'm putting this all on top of my trivet in the Instant Pot liner, by the way. Then I'm adding in 1.5 cups of beef broth. I just use better than bouillon to make that. I know that some people make this with beer. You can also do that as well, using like a Guinness or pretty much any beer you'd like. Then you're going to go ahead and add your corned beef brisket in there. I'm using about a 3.5 pound one, and I put the fat side up. I just really like the thought of like all the flavor from that dripping down into the meat. And then I'm going to basically take the spice packet and just like press it and rub it into the very top as much as I can, and the sides a little bit if I can get them. Basically try not to just knock them off. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cook that for about an hour and a half on high pressure. You need about 20 minutes per pound. I went over. I really wanted that to be super fall apart tender, and you're going to let that naturally release for about 15 minutes. This is what it looks like after. I went ahead and placed that into a baking dish, and then you'll see there's the onions and that broth. We're going to go ahead and reserve some of that broth, anywhere from 1 cup to 2 cups of that, to pour over our meat. And I'm just using like a spoon to basically just scrape off all those peppercorns and that fat layer. I don't want any of that. I don't mind having the peppercorns, but I don't want any of the fat layer. Just going to go ahead and do that. And I'm doing your basic like corned beef, cabbage, potatoes, and carrots. So I'm cutting up some red potatoes, placing them in the Instant Pot in that broth that's remaining. And same thing with carrots, just kind of having them into some sticks. I want them to cook up easily and quickly. I don't want them to be too long. And a head of cabbage, just cutting that into some larger chunks. That's the part that will get softened the quickest. So yeah, just leave it into some larger chunks, placing it on the very top of all the other vegetables. I am using an 8 quart. Like I said, you can use a 6 quart, no problem. Just keep in mind how much vegetables you can probably fit in yours. I like a lot of vegetables. I wanted even leftovers for the next couple days. So I just love them in that juice from the corned beef, and I just did those on high for about 5 minutes. It actually could have been done for 3 to 4 minutes. Mine got a little bit tender. If you like that, the 5 minutes is great, but 3 to 4 minutes would be really good. And then I'm just slicing that up, and as you can see, it's just falling apart. Like, I had trouble just slicing it up. Like, it didn't want to stay together, which is perfectly fine by me because I love a tender meat. And there are those vegetables, and I quick release those, by the way. Nice and tender and good in the broth. Those potatoes in the broth is always like my favorite thing. And there's a little view of all that in the juices. This was so good. I haven't made it in the Instant Pot before, so I was really happy about this. I served that with some stone ground mustard. Oh, I was so in love with this. It's been years since I've had this. Sadly, I just don't always get around to putting in the crock pot on time. So now I'm like amazed at how easy it was to do in the Instant Pot, and with way less time, definitely sticking to this method. Plus I liked it better. Like, I just felt like it tastes amazing, and it was so fall apart. Thanks so much for watching, friends. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little bell so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I hope you all have an amazing week.